And 15% in 5 minutes, that's insane. That's double what a stock market yearly return is, depending on who your investment broker is, and they could be terrible, and you're still better off than they are. So it's just about patience. The next thing we'll go over is FXTA Trader. So it is a website. They come out with their own projections each week. And you can see this one is created for May 7th. What is today? May 7th. So they just did it today. You can look at basically the traits. If it's green, it's going to go obviously in the position of the euro. If it's negative, it'll go in the opposite direction of CHF. That's basically how you read this. So for them, obviously, with the euro presidential election that's going on, it's boosting the euro's economy. They had been super strong on Euro USD, but you can see it's kind of coming down because of market sentiment, which I will go over in a little bit. But currently they have Euro CAD, Euro Odd, GBP Odd being buys. They have Odd CHF being a sell. They have the Euro JPY again being a buy, GBP CAD being a buy. I don't trade these pairs. These are just, I know a lot of people like to trade a lot of different pairs, so this is just an organized group of what you should look for. Anything that is in the middle, it doesn't really have a clear position as to which way it's going to go. I just like to look over these just in case I end up actually trading a pair that is on this list. It's always nice to look at, which again, it gets updated every week. And a lot of people don't actually know about this website. So always use FXCA Trader. As part of our weekly outlook, we need to look at the news base, because I do trade off of news. If you take a trade and you don't really know what news is coming out, it could greatly affect how much of a drawdown or how negative you go on a certain account. And so again, we have the French presidential election that's going on, which is causing a huge chaos around the euro currency. Later in the week, we don't really have anything Monday or Tuesday. Now, NZD, they do have a cash rate, which is the rate bank of New Zealand. Now, if they change, this is kind of like the rate hike for the U.S. So if the official cash rate of NZD ends up changing, then it causes a lot of fluctuation in the NZD currency. Now, it hasn't changed for a couple months, and they're not really projected to have a change. But if it does, then you could set a buy stop or sell stop based off of what happens, and then go from there. And you might not have a lot of drawdown at all. So that's something to look at on Wednesday. Continuing on, again, the government Wheeler speaks. This is kind of when he speaks. It's kind of when anything that has to do with GBP, when they speak, GBP fluctuates quite a bit. When Trump speaks, the U.S. dollar fluctuates quite a bit. So you need to be aware that the NZD governor is speaking. Continuing on Thursday, there's not really a lot. I only like to pay attention to the red. Now, Thursday night, again, bank rates with GBP. It hasn't changed in a long time, but this month could be the month that it changes. And that's what they have projected. So if you go in here and look, it'll tell you exactly what the format is for how many are increasing to vote versus the decrease, which again, they don't really think it's going to get as many votes to change the policy because their government is not doing well at all. So it's just something to look at. You don't want to take an uneducated trade if you don't really know what's happening. Unemployment claims doesn't really have a huge effect. I mean, it is a red folder, but it doesn't really matter. You could trade. I don't usually trade Fridays unless it's NFP, just because this kind of stuff doesn't have a huge effect. If you want to trade it, go for it. So this is not a huge news week besides the monetary policies for NZD and GBP. Again, there's always a chance that GBP is going to have Brexit. Now, they've kind of regulated it to where they can't just drop it. I did miss this, though. Wednesday, the Euro has Draghi speaking. Draghi is, again, like Trump. Whenever he whenever they speak, it causes chaos in the market, because if they mention the currency, whether it being too weak or too strong, it causes a bunch of buys or sells in different directions. So you have to be aware of that. So that's something else that we might trade off of, depending on if they say something to move the market. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. It's really just based off of that. Crude oil inventories. Crude oil has kind of been going up and down depending on how much per barrel costs, and usually depending on what their inventory is based off of how much they have on reserve and how much they need to make, and it can affect oil price. If it's low on reserve, then they will make oil higher because they actually need it, and people will pay for it. So oil, it really isn't that hard to trade. The next thing we will go to is daily FX. This is something I've kind of added. If you go to technical analysis, sentiment. Again, some people don't really know about this. Sentiment means, there we go. Sentiment means if there's too many trades in a certain direction, it causes the market to go the other direction. And I know that's kind of hard to fathom, but with NFP, I told you if NFP was good for the U.S., you needed to trade the opposite, and we can actually go and we will look at last week. We'll go all the way down. Friday. Okay, so look, NFP was good for the U.S. It was really good for the U.S. It was all green, but notice how all the pairs went against the U.S. dollar. Why is that? Because of market sentiment. The long range, the longer term trades, everyone bought USD. And if there are too many buys or sells in a certain direction, the market goes the opposite direction because it can't hold all those orders in that one direction, which is why we always trade the opposite of NFP. And you can go and look at the markets for Friday. They all went in our direction. And that's a lot of people, they don't know that. They always trade exactly what the news is, and that's not what you're supposed to do. And you can tell because of market sentiment. So as we look, the euro is kind of, it says it's bearish, and it is. There's 64% shorts. I feel like it's only bearish because of the election that's going on. A lot of people, there's a lot of controversy over the candidates, just like with Trump. So just be aware of that. I'm going to go over Euro USD because it's in a huge channel, which we traded. So I'll go over that a little bit later. You can see UJ, it's pretty dead even, which is why there's a mixed signal. GU is 64% short of the USD because a lot of people are scared of Brexit again, because the GBP, they're trying to leave the EU. There's a lot that goes into that, so it's again mixed. You can see there is a lot of buys, a lot of longs on odd USD, which is why you see the signal that it's bearish, is because there's too many buys in odd USD, which is making it go down. Same with gold. There are so many longs on gold because they want it to break the 1300-ish barrier, that there's hardly any other shorts, which makes it bearish. It makes it go down. There are too many buys. The SPX, I have no idea what the heck is going on with this. I don't really trade the SPX. If you do in stocks, you can. If you won't, you kind of watch that. But it's unusual for me to trade stocks lately, just because Forex is much easier. So continuing on, just take market sentiment into account. If everyone, I've seen on Telegram where a lot of people are all the chats are saying buy this, all buying the same pair. And what do? We sell the pair, because if all those chats are buying it, it causes market sentiment. It causes it to go the opposite direction. It causes it to stop loss hunt. So if we can set our trade and catch 35 pips and put our stop loss to break even, we just took a break even trade and we didn't have to do anything. So there's just a lot that goes into it. If you use Megatrend, we like to go in here. I usually like to use the 4 hour. The daily's kind of bigger. I like to go in here and use the US as a indicator, and it basically just shows you what the current status is of that currency, and you can see the US dollar is on a drawdown. But if we there we go. you can see it's pretty much on an incline. So we should have a bump up in the U.S. dollar because of what NFP's numbers were, which I'll go in a little bit as well. We can look at the euro. The euro is it's starting to climb because of the election. A lot of people were unhappy. Euro comes in, new presidential candidate, new country, blah blah blah, all that other garbage. GBP has been super low. You can see the drop off just because of that was old Brexit. That was October's Brexit, and it's starting to climb up a little bit. I would assume it's going to have another drop off just because it hasn't broke this barrier right here. And you can see here's a barrier. It's approaching a pretty strong barrier around here. So we might be selling GBP USD. It's hard to tell. JPY is always really strong because their government has such a huge impact on how the currency rolls out. I don't know if y'all know that, but the JPY government comes in and they drop a lot of money for certain periods of their currency to make it go up or down. So that's why you kind of see JPY drop. When you see UJ have a huge drop, it's because their government has a huge inclination over that pair. CAD has been really, if you noticed, UCAD kind of hasn't, for a while, it wasn't going anywhere. It's because UCAD, they match up really, really well, and that's where they are right now. So I don't know if we'll be trading UCAD. It's kind of hard to tell at the moment. Odd has a lot to do with gold. I don't know if y'all knew that either. Odd has a lot to do with gold. And depending on usually if odd is going up, gold is going up, that's usually how it goes. So that's something to look for. I mean, it's on a pretty good drop right here, but it looks like it's touching this. If we were to draw a line right here, I won't let me draw a line because I have too many pairs up. But it looks like it's on the line right here. So we might see a bump up in odd, which would be a bump up in gold. I don't trade NZD. I mean, you can look at NZD, but I don't trade it. I don't trade the Swiss franc either. Some people do, some people don't. If you look at all these currencies, they're all along the same guideline, which is kind of crazy. Which is why I think there's a bunch of mixed signals. It's kind of hard to say, but all right, let's get in. So before we go over doing charts, now with doing market sentiment, you always trade the opposite of the news. But this week, since NFP was good for the U.S., just because we didn't trade, we traded against the U.S. on Friday, it means that we're basically going to trade in favor of the U.S. this week. So with market sentiment, since we traded against, all the orders have leveled out. So now the U.S. is going to get, usually it will get very, very strong the week after, or it will get really weak the week after. It really just depends on how NFP news went. So if we traded against the U.S. on NFP, we're going to trade in favor of the U.S. dollar the week after, and vice versa. Does that, if that makes sense to you in the chat, say yes, because to me it makes sense. To y'all it might not. Yes, yes, maybe, yes, yes, maybe, yeah. All right. Glad y'all are paying attention. Yes, okay, there we go. Okay, so Euro USD, I like bigger charts. I like to look at the bigger picture. A lot of people like to trade, like to trade the 15-minute pairs and whatnot. There's nothing wrong with that. If you trade the minute chart, like, I'm not going to talk to you because I don't like trading off the minute chart. I think it's risky. I think it's dumb. So yeah, you won't ever see me on a 1-minute chart. That's absolutely crazy. But we basically called, I think I've sent a couple of the webinars to people. I basically called like this huge incline on this Euro USD channel, and we caught the uptrend on the buy on Euro USD. But now you can see the week after, this is today's candle. You can see it's already coming down, so it's respecting the channel. It had a little break, a slight break, but it's respecting the channel. And I think the only reason it broke was because of the gap. And if you know your Forex symbols, this is basically a stop. It means it's coming down. This is a clear indicator as to a coming down, which you might not see on the 4-hour, but on the day chart, that's an indicator. That's telling you, hey, like it's needing to come down. So basically, what we're looking for is we need the likelihood is that we're gonna try and we're gonna try and set a sell stop below. Below that wick right there, because for whatever reason there's a reason that it came down to that certain point and then went all the way up. So basically we're going to hit a sell stop, and you can see there's a level of resistance along this area. This is really where the wicks start to wick out. So what we're going to do, if it's already come down this much, and because of the presidential election, it might make the USD stronger because a lot of people are opposed, or there might be a huge candle for the election. Again, there's a lot that goes into this. But the fact is, we don't do market execution. We do sell stops and buy stops. Why would you do market execution if you don't know if the trade is going in your way? So we set buy stops and sell stops, basically surpassing certain level of resistance. And right now, I see we could do one of two things. We could either take a sell stop and have it come all the way down and meet the channel again, if it's going to continue to respect the channel. If it's not, then we could technically take a buy stop and wait and see, and you would basically take a buy stop all the way to the next level of resistance. The likelihood, I think it's going to come down. I think the USD is going to get really strong this week. But if it doesn't, then we can. If this is a huge wick and it ends up going straight up, we're going to catch the buy off of this. We're going to catch the buy, and then we're going to take it until the next level of resistance. That's really the plan. Again, things change. You don't have to. This doesn't have to respect anything. It all depends on what the market wants to do. We don't control the market. So yeah, that's pretty much what I see on Euro USD. I mean, we can go to we can go to a smaller chart if you please. You can see the gap out, and then it ended up coming down. So it's about to make a new candle because it's every 4 hours. So the market started at 4 my time, Central Time. So at 8 o'clock, 2 minutes, it's about to make a new candle. So I think it's going to break this level right here and end up coming down for a couple hours. It might end up actually staying on this level and then bouncing back up and doing a double top. It's really hard to say. We're kind of going to micromanage and see where it goes, because we don't have to take a trade right now. Today's Sunday. We don't have to take that type of trade. The next we will go over is USDJQY. Y'all know about my flag routes. Like, this is a perfect flag. Okay. This is actually a huge flag route, and which Billy and Adam actually have been working on. Billy really enjoys the flag routes, and you can see the breakout. Usually, anytime it breaks out of a flag, it ends up going in quite a bit of a direction. And we could have called that it was either going to hit this resistance level and come down, or it was going to continue up. And you can see it tried to, this upside down dragonfly. It tried to come down, but you can see the overwhelming buys on the USD, which is kind of crazy. So we kind of planned that out. So we can take this off now. So now you can see we saw initial resistance level right here. What did it do? It came down and kind of rested, and then the next day there was a gap, and then it continued upward, and then it broke that, came down. You can see another resistance level right here. The candle, there's always resistance all over the place, and that's why you see all these lines. It's because I like to trade resistance. And I had told y'all if it had broken this line, you needed to buy. And what did it do? Like, it did, and it continued up, and that's a good 40 pips. So why would you, even if you held the trade from here, that's quite a bit. Like, don't be greedy, but I mean, you need to make smart trades. So now that we kind of have a half railroad right here with a wick up. We have the new candle, and it gapped up, and now it's coming down. This could be a fake out, or it could continue up. You can see the level it's on is actually a resistance level. You can see wick, consolidation right here. So it's trying to decide where to go. The likelihood, again, I said I think the USD is going to get stronger. Now it's going to come up and tap another one of these resistance levels, kind of have a slight break, and then continue up. We can look on the 4 hour. So right now it looks to have a, I mean the market just opened. It kind of looks to have a double top. It's kind of looking like a little double top. So I mean it could come down if you're, uh, it could end up coming down and making like an M. I mean it might not come down that far, but it might. You can see the little drop double top. It might end up coming down. I think it might have a little drawdown, but I think uh, it's gonna go right back up. Um, And yeah, I don't see much on UJ. What else? GBP USD. So let's go to the bigger picture. I'm always a D chart person. Okay, so we had this huge consolidation period, and it finally broke out. You can see it was in this period for a while. It broke out. It tried to come right back in, but it ended up breaking out. And now we have like a little flag pattern right here. And flag patterns mean a certain level of consolidation. So we have this flag pattern. So what we do is we wait for a breakout of the flag pattern. Now it might continue up. So you can see the likelihood is that it might, it's either going to come down and touch that level and it's going to break out, or it's going to come right back up. So, oh my, there we go. So we're just gonna watch for the respect of the flag pattern, and most of y'all have seen me like work with flag patterns. I really like it. I learned from one of the top traders on TradingView. Actually, I watched. He was doing like this huge free webinar, and I was kind of curious as to how he traded and how he became the top trader on TradingView. And he showed flag patterns, so I started to learn them because you can always learn. Like, don't never shut yourself out from learning. There's always things to learn. So I kind of adapted. I really like it, and it respects usually all the time. Like even if I was to, I mean, you can pull them all up right here. That's a flag pattern. You can see the flag right here. I mean, here's the pole. Flag broke out, and then where did it go? So we're waiting for a breakout of this flag. I mean, we could trade. We could wait for this bottom out and either take a buy or take a sell. But when it does eventually break out, like it's a pretty good breakout, and we're catching the 40 to 50 pips we want. Which it's more about taking safe trades than it is taking risky trades and making all this money. Like we're not here to gain riches within a first month or two. Like these are investments. Like these are solid money for years on end. Like this isn't a get rich. It makes me mad when people think that's what it is. Like this is trading stocks getting rich. No, it's investments. It's consistency among the years, and you gaining growth on your certain amount of money that you put in. So yeah, that's kind of what I see on GU. That's what I would look for. Respect the flag. You can go the 4 hour if you really wanted to, and you can see like it's like pole. I mean, it's kind of a weird, like, ugly stripper pole, but it's still a pole. And then the flag, and it's respecting. You can call it a flag, you can call it a channel. Either one, I don't really care. It's just what it's doing. Let's go to. Actually, I'm gonna go back to the. Let's go to. Go to gold. Okay, so what we had last week was everyone thought that gold was gonna surpass the whole 1305, which I think it eventually will. You can see everyone and their dog is buying gold, but with that market sentiment, there are too many people buying gold, and we had that it was either going to break up of this level or it was going to break down, and you can see the level that we had, it ended up breaking, and when it breaks down. Like it broke this level completely. That whole entire day shot down. Now, with this, if you know your Forex symbols, y'all should be able to see that clearly. This is a doji. This is an upside down doji, which usually indicates we're going to get rid of. You might. So maybe not that. Okay, so that's a doji, and there was a gap, and now it's continuing up. Usually dojis represents trend change. And we can look. I don't really use this much as I used to, but I still like to. I mean, RSI is kind of low. The RSI is at what? It got down to 13, and then now it has like a slight break up. So does that mean that we're going to have another trend up? It might be, because usually when it gets this low, it starts to have an uptrend. Right here, what did it do? Uptrend. And this is on my RSI is at RSI is at 6, and usually it's a pretty good indication. I mean, we can go all the way back. Um, usually has a pretty good indication as to what the market's going to do. So does this little downturn mean that gold is going to go up? Because of eventually the orders are going to consolidate out, and then it's going to end up going up because everyone is buying. So I'm going to say gold. Gold looks like it's going to be buy. I would assume it's going to come back up to a double top at like 1290, 1290-ish. And then now, at that point, we want to do this. So at that point, we're basically going to look for a little consolidation period right there. And so we're either going to, it might happen this week, it might happen next week. We would either wait for the break, or we would wait for the next turn down. And that's really because it's all about levels. Like the market loves trading off of levels. So that's what. Now it could break down because of the USD strength. I think there's too many buys according to daily FX for it to go down. I mean, if the buys just completely overwhelm the market again, like there's more and more people buying, then it could cause the market to shoot down again. I don't think that's how it's going to work. But it did end up breaking this trend line right here. So kind of hard to say. I think it's going to be buy. I think it's going to break this little consolidation period right here, go from 1240 to 1250, 1260 real fast, and then we'll take it from there. And a good place to buy stop would be like above this candle right here, 1241 ish. Getting this consolidation, though, if anything, you could still catch 100 pips from 1241 to 1251. That's the real goal. And that would be your entire week. That would be awesome. If you could take one trade on gold and be good. But yes. So let's go over AUD/USD. Okay. Let's look. Okay, so you can see I enjoyed the flag route very much. Now, it still looks like it's kind of almost respecting this, like quite a bit. Well, not anymore. It broke out. But you can see channel, and then breakout, and this huge freaking candle. This is kind of crazy. That's insane. But we have this little trailing star, and again, it's this resistance zone right here that I have. It tapped it. Now, does it want to go up or go down? So the fact that it tapped this, I think it's going to consolidate right here for a little bit. It's going to consolidate in this area, and then it's either going to break up or break down. Again, we're not in a hurry to take a trade. Like, why take a trade when you don't know where it's going? That's why I can't get through to people in doing it. You have to rush. If you don't see a trade, don't take it. I think it's going to have like this little consolidation, like you can see right here. It just kind of stayed in one place, and then it ended up breaking out. So you need to watch this area. Wait for it to either break up or break down. I think it's on a pretty big. I mean, if we look, this level has always been full of consolidation right here, consolidation. So that's why it's kind of struggling on where to go. Now we can go to the 4 hour and kind of see, but again, the market just opened, so you can see it whipped up. Now it's wicking down. I think it's going to continue to wick down and then maybe do a double bottom, continue up. We just look at the bigger picture. So yes, let's go over. We could, if you want to look, I guess at the other side. The other side is kind of, it's not low enough, which is, so you can see RSI up, cool, RSI. It's only on 10. It has to get really low in order for it to do a complete trend change, and that it's not low enough, which is why I think it's going to continue to wick down. And then end up coming up. So the real reality is that it needs to come down and then come up. Yes. what I don't trade NU. Um, what else? What other pair? I did GU, AU. Oh, let's do UCAD. Let's do UCAD. Okay. All right. So we were initially we're trying to find the drop. We were waiting for the drop. And again, if you would have taken a sell market execution, you would have literally been raped by the market. And uh, Yeah, I mean, we were waiting for this drop. We knew that it was on this triple top, and we were waiting for the consolidation. And you can see if we zoom in, you can see these wicks right here. It didn't want to break it. It wanted to come down, but because of market sentiment, too many people were trying to sell the heck out of UCAT, and they wanted it to come down. I wanted it to come down. Um, luckily we caught this on this UCAD. We caught it, and I just took profit after like 15 pips because I get scared sometimes. Like all traders, like if you get scared, that's okay. Like I'm not perfect. I got scared. I took profit. Um, but you can see eventually after it made its new level. If we go back, there's a lot of consolidation in previous time right here, and we had levels. Like I haven't touched this since the last time we did a webinar. It has levels. It tapped that level perfectly. That should tell you that the market respects previous levels. And now it had a huge downturn. Like, this is crazy. Um, and so it already wicked up. If you look up, it's already wicked. So the likelihood is that it's going to come down. It's going to continue to come down. Now, where the real level would be along maybe right here, along that 1.35 ish range right here. That would be the next level that I would think it's going to come down. Now it could continue up. This wick, I think it indicates that it's on a downtrend. That was just the gap in the USD's favor, but I think it's going to continue to come down. And in this level, we'll draw it all the way across. In this little wick range right here. Now it might end up coming down and then coming and doing the double top. The likelihood is pretty rare. You can see the RSI was way up here, and usually when it gets up that high, it ends up coming down. So I mean, it's a pretty drastic drop. So we might even have a correction up, which I kind of drew. I don't think it's going to have a correction up just because of this wick right here. I think a good place. A good place would be find out. I can't really see the wick. I'll have to get on MetaTrader on my phone and look for a sell stop, and then take the sell stop down. If anything, I think a good take profit would be that 1.35. I mean, that would be a pretty good drop in the market if it did 68 pips. That's not bad at all, especially on a Sunday if it ends up hitting it. That's not bad at all. So I did AU, GU, UCAD, UJ, Gold, EU. That's pretty much the only pairs I focus on. I don't understand why people trade 30 plus pairs. If you have someone else like IMO guys, some of y'all around here, they have other people doing the work for them, as well as they can do their own work, so that they can trade as many pairs as they like. With us, we only have 5 pairs. We only focus on 5 pairs. If you want to learn all 30 pairs and how they work, go for it. If you only want to learn, choose 3 to 5 pairs, understand how those pairs work, focus on how those pairs maneuver, and that's the only thing you need to know. If you master those 3 to 5 pairs, you don't need to trade the other 25 pairs or whatever there is. Just focus on certain pairs. That's all I'm saying. Just be proficient. And yeah, that's all I got. Do y'all have any pairs that y'all want to go over, or any instruction on certain methods, or anything, or y'all good? Did y'all understand everything that I just went over? Yeah, y'all are good. Y'all are good. All right. Now I did not record this, and I told I think that Jonathan, which Jonathan's super cool. He's one of the only IMO guys in here. So I will say, if I told my guys I would talk about it in the chat, if What's the difference with buy and sell on hours? Okay, buy stops and sell stops and buy limits. And when you place a buy stop, it basically means you're placing it um, ahead of the market. And a buy limit, you're basically placing it within. It's kind of a hard thing to. Okay, so basically, when you take a buy stop, let's say we need it to reach this certain point before we end up taking the buy stop, and it's basically just setting it ahead of time. With a buy limit, you are taking the trade against the direction. So if we took a buy limit and we wanted to place it right here, it's basically saying that it needs to wick out, and then we think it's going to go the other direction. With buy stops, if we set a buy stop right here, it guarantees us that it's going in its direction. So if a buy limit, if we set it on certain right here and we set the buy limit, it's already on a downtrend. So if it ends up just killing us on a buy limit and it continues down, then that's when buy limits kind of mess you up. That's why buy stops and sell stops kind of mess you up as well if you put them on bad levels. I just don't use buy limits and sell limits. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. I like my buy stops. But yeah, okay, so I'm gonna do, since we've been like rocking trading, and everything else, and Billy and Adam have been killing trades as well, especially in the group. Dave has been absolutely killing everybody, with trades. We're gonna do, with DNFX, it's a personal discount. If you personally know that person and you want them to be in the group and everything, I'm only going to charge them $100 just because they're close to you, blah, 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 whatever. I'm cool. I'm not money hungry right now. So you can just message me and let them know that like you want them in. Like Billy just added Wayne. It was $100. That's cool. That's awesome because Wayne's a cool trader anyway. If it is someone who you do not know that you want in the group, it's going to be the full price. But if you personally know them, or you personally know me, or like we're on good terms, and you want someone in here, it's $100. So I just wanted to say that. Other than that, this was our weekly webinar. I'm trying to get as many people on here as possible. I'm about to have Irving do our marketing funnels account on Facebook, so we're about to have a freaking ton of people in here. But y'all are great. That's all I got for the weekly webinar. If you have any questions after this, just hit me up on Telegram, hit me up on Snapchat, Facebook, text me. I really don't care. I'm usually pretty chill. And I will see y'all later. Peace.